All right, guys, these are the notes from Tuesday, November 2nd. So we started a new method of solving quadratics, and we're going to be using factoring. So on Schoology, you will find a PDF of this document right here. These are the steps. There are 10 steps to solving each of these problems. It sounds kind of scary, but I promise you it's not that bad at all. So I'm just going to go through some examples. The page that I'm using for the examples is also linked in Schoology as a PDF, or you can just write down the problems on a piece of paper and just follow along. All right, so first step, we are going to open up two sets of parentheses with x being the first letter in each one. So we open up two sets of parentheses, put x first. Step 2 is to multiply our a times our c. So in this case, our a is 1, so we're going to multiply 1 times 3, which just gives us 3. Step 3 says to find all the factors for that product. So over here, I'm going to write down all of the factors. So 3 only has 2 factors, 1 times 3. Step 4 says find the factor pair that adds or subtracts to get the b term. So we start from the back and we work our way to the middle. So we're saying we want factors of 3 that add, because there's a plus sign here, to get 4. So we only have one pair to choose from, so that makes it easy. You put the bigger number first and the smaller number second. All right, step 6 says divide the numbers by your a value. Well, in this case, since our a was 1, 3 divided by 1 is just 3, and 1 divided by 1 is just 1. So when your a is 1, you can skip over step 6. All right, so then we bring down the first sign. Since the first sign is plus, then we're going to keep whatever the second sign is. So that is plus. Then we set each one of these factors to equal 0, and we solve. So x equals -3, and x equals -1. And those are your two solutions. All right, looking at number 2. So again, we start off by opening up two sets of parentheses. We put an x first in each one. We're going to take our a times our c, so 1 times 24 gives us 24. So then I'm going to write out all the factors of 24. So 1 times 24, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, and 4 times 6. Now we want to find which pair will add to give us 8. So again, factors of 24 that add to give us 11. So 3 and 8 will add to give us 11. So the biggest number goes first. Bring down the first sign. Since the first sign is a plus, then we keep the second sign, whatever that is. So this is plus. Set each of these to equal 0, and then solve. So we get x equals -8 and x equals -3. So again, referring back to when we did the graphing, if we were to graph this quadratic, you would find that the parabola crossed the x-axis at -8 and -3. All right, we're going to skip down to number 4. All right, so on number 4, open up two sets of parentheses. X goes first in each one. Take your a times your c, so 1 times 27 gives us 27. You can ignore the negative sign in front of the 27. We're just doing positive numbers, so 1 times 27. So factors of 27, there's my list. So I'm looking for factors of 27 that subtract to give me 6. So again, the second operation tells us what our factors have to do to find our middle term. So 3 and 9 subtract to give me 6. Bigger number goes first. First sign comes straight down. Because the first sign is plus, then you keep the second sign. So this one's going to be minus. So x plus 9 equals 0, and x minus 6 equals 0. So x equals -9, and x equals +6. Okay? All right, we're just going to move down to number 6. So open up two sets of parentheses. X goes first in each one. A times C, so 1 times 20 gives me 20. Write out all of your factors of 20. So now I'm trying to find factors of 20 that subtract to give me 1. So when there's just an X, remember there's actually a 1 in front of there. So factors of 20 that subtract to give me 1, it's going to be 4 and 5. So the bigger number goes first. Bring down your first sign. Now, because my first sign is a minus, then I need to flip my second sign. So this one's going to become a plus. So on that notes sheet that you can get off of Schoology, you'll notice right here, if first sign is positive, then copy down second sign. If first sign is minus, then bring down the opposite of the second sign. All right, and then we're just going to set each of these to equal 0 again. So x equals positive 5 and x equals negative 4. Okay. All right, so then sometimes you have some variations. If you look, the first step listed on this is to set the quadratic equation equal to 0. So over here on the back, if we're looking at number 17, so if we notice this does not equal 0, so we need to make it equal 0. So we would subtract 21 from both sides. So then we'd have x squared plus 4x minus 21 equals 0. Remember, when you subtract 21, it's not like terms, so you're not going to combine it with either one of these two terms. So then you would go through and you would factor it. For number 18, we would be subtracting 4x. Now, it's really common to just go like this and just put it on the end. However, that is not in our standard form. This 4x is actually your b term. So you need to make sure that you put it in the correct order as you're writing it. Then you can factor. So you always have your x squared term, your x term, and then just your number term. All right, and then number 19. So we're going to subtract 7x from both sides. But remember, when adding and subtracting, you have to combine like terms. So this 7x can only be combined with this negative 5x. So then I have x squared minus 12x minus 64. So again, my x squared and my 64 did not change, just that middle term, because those were like terms. Same thing with number 20. So we would subtract 4x from both sides. So I'm going to put that underneath the same term, the like term, and then we would subtract 1 from both sides. So then I would have x squared minus 14x plus 48 equals 0. And then from there you can go through and you can factor. So the one thing you just need to make sure of is that your quadratic equation equals 0, and if it doesn't, then you need to rearrange it and move things around so that it does equal 0. Then you can go into the factoring. So if we were going to factor this one, we would take a times c. So 1 times 48 is 48. So then we need to find all of our factors of 48. 6 times 8. All right, so we're trying to find factors of 48 that add to give us 14. Again, we're looking at that second operation to figure out what we need to do with the factors to get the middle term. So it'd be 6 and 8. Bigger number goes first. First sign comes straight down. Because the first sign is a minus, then we flip the second sign. So that is also minus. Then you set these to equal 0, and you solve. So x equals 8 and x equals 6 are your two solutions. Okay, if you have any problems, then refer back to the steps, the list, the PDF, or come and see me and talk to me.